The modern conflict between Iran and the United States is one of the most complicated rivalries in modern geopolitics. Although the two countries have never fought a declared full-scale war, they have experienced decades of hostility, sanctions, cyber conflict, proxy warfare, and repeated military crises that have brought them close to direct war many times. Their relationship began as cooperation but gradually turned into deep mistrust, shaped by political intervention, revolution, ideology, and regional power struggles. The roots of the conflict trace back to the early 20th century when Iran's massive oil reserves made it strategically important to Western powers. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence helped overthrow Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh after he nationalized the oil industry. The coup restored the pro-Western Shah and secured Western oil interests, but many Iranians viewed the event as foreign interference in their democracy. This moment created a deep historical grievance that still shapes Iranian attitudes toward the United States today. For the next 25 years, the U.S. strongly supported the Shah's monarchy, providing military aid and political backing. However, the Shah's government became increasingly authoritarian and unpopular. Economic inequality, corruption, and repression fueled a massive revolution in 1979 led by Ruhollah Khomeini. The revolution transformed Iran into an Islamic republic that rejected Western influence and positioned itself as an opponent of U.S. power in the Middle East. Later in 1979, the crisis escalated dramatically when Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and held American diplomats hostage for 444 days. This event destroyed diplomatic relations between the two countries and turned public opinion on both sides sharply negative. Since then, the United States and Iran have had no formal diplomatic relations, communicating only indirectly through intermediaries. During the 1980 to 1988 Iran-Iraq War, the United States supported Iraq in order to prevent Iran from expanding its revolutionary influence. This further deepened hostility. Over the following decades, the rivalry shifted into indirect conflict. The U.S. imposed economic sanctions to weaken Iran, while Iran supported armed groups across the Middle East that opposed U.S. allies. This period is often described as a long shadow conflict rather than open war. One of the biggest sources of tension has been Iran's nuclear program. The U.S. and many Western countries fear Iran could develop nuclear weapons, while Iran insists its program is for peaceful energy and research. In 2015, a major diplomatic breakthrough occurred when Iran and world powers signed the nuclear agreement known as the JCPOA. However, the United States withdrew from the deal in 2018 and reimposed heavy sanctions, causing tensions to rise again and pushing the relationship back toward confrontation. The rivalry intensified further in January 2020 when the United States killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike in Iraq. Iran responded by launching missiles at U.S. bases. Although this did not lead to full-scale war, it demonstrated how quickly the situation could escalate and how both countries were willing to use direct military force if necessary. Much of the conflict today takes place in the Persian Gulf region, especially around the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important oil shipping routes in the world. Any disruption there can affect global energy prices and international trade. Naval confrontations, drone incidents, and cyber warfare have become common tools used by both sides to pressure each other without triggering total war. The global impact of this rivalry is enormous. Sanctions on Iran have affected global oil markets, regional politics, and the economies of many countries. At the same time, Iran's influence in the Middle East has grown through alliances and partnerships that challenge U.S. interests in the region. Because of this, tensions between the two countries are not only bilateral but also part of a wider struggle over power and influence in the Middle East. Today, the future of U.S.-Iran relations remains uncertain. Periods of escalation are often followed by attempts at diplomacy, and experts widely believe that negotiation remains the only realistic path to avoid a catastrophic war. The rivalry continues to shape global politics, energy markets, and regional security, making it one of the most important international conflicts of the modern era.